Hey everyone, this is Lisa from TRW, and in this video I'm going to show you how to cut Siser Glitter HTV or heat transfer vinyl in your Silhouette CAMEO. So we're going to go over which side you cut on, how to put in your settings, and how to check out to make sure you have a good test cut. So if you want to see how to cut this glitter HTV, just keep on watching. And while you're here, don't forget to click our subscribe button down below and make sure you turn on notifications so that you don't miss any other videos. Alright, so I am in Silhouette Studio. I have a piece of HTV that I will be cutting. So here's my glitter, and then here's the back side. So you may know from other videos, or you may know from your own experience that heat transfer vinyl has a carrier. So that's what we're looking at here with the shiny side. And so we don't want to cut on this shiny side. This is what holds our design together. So we need to cut on this side. Now we will see our design through the carrier, so that means we need to reverse our design or mirror it so it cuts correctly. So I'm going to go over and start out with this TRW. I'm going to be using this same design in every video that I do for cutting. So we have this set here. Now I just mentioned we need to mirror it, so I'm going to right click, flip horizontally, and we have it set that way. So you may notice, and I'm going to go over to the left side, use my rectangle tool, and I'm just drawing a box around my design. This box serves as my weed box, so basically I can pull a corner up and it'll be easier to figure out which sections I need to cut or not. So you may notice I do not have a cutting mat in my area. Now you can use a cutting mat when cutting HTV. You are more than welcome to, and it's a great idea. However, one cool thing about cutting vinyl is that you don't actually need a cutting mat. It has a carrier on it which serves as the barrier or protects your vinyl from cutting. So we're going to go ahead and keep our cutting mat turned off. If you ever want to turn on or turn off your cutting mat, you have your page set up. It's going to be this button up here in the top right corner. You'll see this menu. Right here it says cutting mat. We can either have it on for Cameo, or in this case we'll do none, and we will not have one. So we're all set with our design. So now we're going to go over to our send panel and figure out our cuts. So right here we have our send panel. Now you'll notice that there's just a box that is bold red line and not our design. This happens because this was an SVG file that I brought into my software. SVG files typically will have your cut lines turned off. So let's go ahead and select our whole design. So we have both selected, and we're going to click cut right here. Now my bold red line is all there. So I'm going to go over, and I have programmed a custom cut setting for glitter in here. So we're going to go down here and check it out. Now I always recommend to program your own cut settings. I feel like it gives you the most versatility and it gives you the best control over your material. So I'm going to link in the description below a video where I have programmed custom cut settings, and I'm also going to put it in that little information flyout that shows up on the top of the screen. So I have my glitter settings all set. So you'll see that I have my blade at 5, my speed at 10, my force at 18, and 1 pass. So I do not do a double cut. Now, please remember, these are just guidelines. Every machine is a little bit different. Your blade could be newer, could be more dull. It could be a million different factors that go into this. So these are settings that I use as a guideline. I always recommend doing a test cut and checking it out. And so speaking of test cut, I'm going to load in my material. We're going to do a test cut, and we're going to check out, hey, did this cut well or not? So we're over here at my Cameo. I'm using a Cameo 3, and again, here's my piece of glitter HTV. So you can see shiny side, but you can really see the glitter texture, and here is our dull side. So don't forget, we're cutting on this side. So we're going to line up the edge of our material against this blue line on our Cameo 3, and I'm going to hold it against the roller bar on our machine. So one thing to just double check is you want to make sure these fat rollers are on the edge of your material. So let's say you were cutting with the cutting mat earlier. Your roller might be over here. Just make sure it's on the edge of your material there. And let's hit load. Now it's going to feed in my vinyl, and now we're going to jump back over to my screen over here. And you can see on my screen I have my glitter HTV. Here are my settings. So we're going to click right here and do a test cut. So you can see it went through pretty quickly. That is because I only did 1 pass. So we're going to let this finish working, and I'm going to unload. Now, when you have glitter, you will probably see from your cut, let me let this focus, a really small indent from your cut right there. So you'll see it there. And then a lot of times you'll see the line of the cut behind here too. So you can kind of see that there. Now you want to feel this. If you can feel the indent or it's poking through, that means your force is too high. You want to lower it. But this looks pretty good so far. So I'm going to take my weeding tool, pull up on my corner, and check that out. So I have that square that came out, which is pretty good. And then our triangle stayed behind. So that's one thing you're looking for your test cut, is you want the square to come out and that triangle to stay behind and have no resistance when you're peeling up from there. So we're going to reload this, and let me just kind of slide this over. We're going to reload this. And I can see it buckling, so I'm going to lift this bar up and kind of slide this a tiny bit. Now, we had our test cut right here, which we don't want, so I'm going to use this button right here, and I'm going to move my start point a little bit. And that's good. Now we're going to go back to my software. We're all set to go. So I'm going to jump over here, click send. Now we're ready to cut. All right, so my cut is completed. Let's let this finish working. And now let's go unload it. And now with the glitter, a lot of times you will see indents of the cut in there. So you can kind of see that. Sometimes glitter can be harder to see, so you just want to keep it on a well-lit surface. Some people like to put baby powder or chalk in the cut lines. Whichever method works for you is totally fine. So I'm going to peel up this corner. And you can see I'm not having much resistance. It's weeding pretty easily. And that's what you want. This is why we're doing our test cuts, because we want it to be able to peel up with no problem. Now, if your test cuts are a little bit off with glitter, that's where you run into like weeding taking forever, where these corners can kind of come up and you have to pull them a certain way. You don't want that. So that's why we're doing our test cuts. That's why we're checking out our settings. And honestly, because every machine's a little bit different, and because your blade may be newer than mine or older than mine, don't just rely on the settings that I use. Test it for yourself, use them as a guideline, and then figure out what works best for you. So now you can see we have our design right here. This is how it's going to apply onto our garment or our bag or whichever we're doing. And when I go to do that, I'm just going to cut off this excess. So that is how we cut Siser Glitter HTV on our Silhouette CAMEO. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you would like to learn in more videos. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube so you don't miss any other videos.